Hello, everyone. It's Saturday, April 4th. We're here to talk about group travel, specifically focusing on destination weddings. I have two guests with me. We have a last minute change. Someone had to cancel due to personal reasons. So I have two of my experts. Let's see. Sorry. Oh, here it is. I have Rolanda with me, and can just one second. Just takes a minute. And Sharon, how are you guys?
I'm
Hi,
great,
Roy.
thank you.
So thank you guys for coming aboard to help me with this session. We are going to focus on destination weddings, groups in general, talking about benefits, types of group, all the questions that we've asked, and we're going to open it up for questions as well. I would love to get some introduction from you guys. Tell me a little bit about your business, what it is that you focus on, and what you do. Sharon, what won't you go and start?
Sure, absolutely. Hi, everyone. Happy Saturday. Hope you're all safe and well. My company is Wedding and Honeymoon Travel Group, based in near San Diego, California. We specialize in romance travel, mostly destination weddings and honeymoons, vow renewals, romance travel of any kind, but that's all that we basically sell. We don't sell any other kind of travel. Been focusing on romance travel for almost 11 years now. And yeah, it's been very, very lucrative and it's been good to me. It wasn't easy in the beginning for sure. But now it's, same as everybody else. We're in change modes and edit mode rather than booking mode. But I love doing romance travel. We mostly do groups, 10 rooms or more, and we grew really fast in this niche. I think mostly because in the beginning I focused on just one destination, and that was the island of Jamaica. And we did that for the first 5 years. We only sold weddings to Jamaica. And we became the number one seller in the world for weddings on the island of Jamaica. And then in the last 5 years, we have slowly sort of recreated that in going into, other islands and also into Mexico. So we're not all things to all men, but we're all about romance, and we're very niche. We're actually a niche within a niche, I guess you could say. But it's been very good and very lucrative, and I love what we do here.
Sounds great. Orlando, talk a
Hello,
bit about you and your business.
sure. I'm Rolanda Chambers, and I am the owner of Golden Voyage Travel. We specialize in destination weddings and romance travel, but I also do groups, and that can be a wedding group or it can be a reunion group, a family reunion, high school reunion. So I don't limit myself to just destination weddings. I did my first destination wedding in 2010, began working on it in 2009, and I'm still growing in that business. I recently made that one of my main niches because it is in high demand, and I limit the weddings that I do to right now Jamaica, Mexico, Dominican Republic, and I'm about to do my first one in Aruba. Fingers crossed. In June, we have already had to push the wedding back a week just because of the flights. But if we are able to go forward with it, it'll be moved back just a week in June. So I have had pretty good experiences with all of the resorts that I have recommended to my clients. So my goal is to focus on specific countries and specific resort products, become an expert in those offerings.
Wonderful. So we have two again, speakers, experts that are in different stages of their business, but they are focused or looking to grow their group and specifically weddings. Sharon, can you talk about why did you pick that as what are the benefits for groups? Why did you pick destination weddings and groups?
So I chose destination weddings purely by accident, Roy. Initially, I was going to specialize in sports travel because that's what I did back in the UK before I emigrated. So all my real knowledge was in sport travel and groups first sport travel. But when I came here, a friend of mine had asked me, have you ever been to Jamaica? You should really go to Jamaica. I think you would love it. Blah blah blah. And I'm actually 30 years in travel this year, and I'd never been to Jamaica before 2010. So I took a trip down to Jamaica on my friend's recommendation. And whilst I was there looking at the hotels and doing site inspections, it became very, very crystal clear to me that every hotel I visited was doing weddings. And I'm not just talking one, they were like, a lot of weddings, almost one every couple of hours at almost every hotel that I went to. So I started whilst I was there doing my research, I started to look at well, why is there so many weddings that take place here? And the simple answer is it's one of the easiest places to reach for the uplift, for the air. And second of all, it's also one of the easiest places to get legally married in the Caribbean. So you can legally get married on the island within 24 hours. So once I got back from my research, I looked into it a little bit more, and I just decided, you know what, it sounds like something that I want to get into, and we just went from there. And the reason why groups, well, for me, it's pretty simple. I do the same amount of work, whether it's for one reservation, one room, other than if it was, 101 rooms. So it's the same amount of work, it's the same relationship building. You're still got to service that client for 9 to 12 months, sometimes longer with weddings, but you get 10 times the amount of income. So in the beginning, our system and our process was a lot different. Right in the very beginning, I took every piece of business that I could get, even price matching for $50 on a room or whatever. But now it's a little bit different because we do have a great reputation, we have a great following, we have a lot of referrals and recommendations. So now we do get to choose who we work with a lot more, for sure. And the groups thing, we never really set out just to do groups. However, with destination weddings, most brides and grooms have decided on a destination wedding because either it's too much politics in their family, who's coming, who's not coming, who's paying, who's not paying, or it's a case of, you know what, we want to save some money, but we want to have friends and family with us, sharing that experience. And, that usually turns out to be a minimum of 10 rooms or more. So the groups thing, I think, is just a natural fit when you're doing destination weddings.
Right. And Rolanda, you have a special connection with Jamaica as well, right? Or am I wrong? Are you originally from Jamaica or no?
No, I'm actually from the US, but I have developed a lot of really great relationships at the resorts that I've done in Jamaica. And not only just because I have not specialized at first on just destination weddings, but did romance travel as well. And just really meeting people, doing site inspections, and keeping my name and face in front of them so that when I do call on them for something, they know who they're talking to. That has helped me a whole lot and also has benefited my clients greatly. And my first destination wedding that was in 2009 was in Jamaica at Sandals when it was Sandals White House was my very first destination wedding. And I actually backed into destination weddings. I'm a hopeless romantic. uh, always have been. But I had done regular groups before, and I had someone to come to me and ask me to do her daughter's destination wedding. And back then, I just, I had my cape on and I could do everything. And like Sharon said, at first you pick, everything because you're trying to get your name out there. And it never occurred to me that I couldn't do destination weddings. At the time, I considered it another group, and that's how I approached it. But I had basically really a working knowledge of just being organized enough to do it. And I, like I said, I just thought I was invincible and destination wedding. So I didn't think that I couldn't do it. So there are some things that I've tweaked over the years, but definitely I backed into it. I absolutely loved it. And like Sharon said, the payoff was amazing. So it's something that I love and something that I love doing for people. So it just, to me, I won't say that it's easy, but it's definitely rewarding.
And do you do mostly big groups, small groups? Can you talk in general about what types of groups that are out there?
I have done destination weddings where the number of rooms definitely reached over the minimum, which usually is five. And then I've done what I consider to be a medium sized group. Again, going back to my very first one, that one was 20 rooms, and it actually ran very smoothly because I guess I didn't know what I didn't know, but everything went off. There were no hitches or anything like that. But I will not do because I do groups. I won't do anything less than five rooms, and I try to, uh, I should say, encourage my brides and grooms to encourage their guests to book through me because that's when it becomes a challenge when you have to deal with people who are booked outside of the group and everything that goes along with that. My goal is to be like Sharon and do extremely large groups, and I know that'll come in time.
Sharon, you said that your minimum is normally 10 groups. What was your largest group that you did?
So that's 10 rooms. 10 rooms is what we basically classify as a group. Our largest one would have been for 240 rooms.
Nice. And
Which was, I don't do them very often. That was a few years ago, but it was two large blended families that we did in Jamaica, and it all went smooth. It went great. Everybody was happy, and no issues, no challenges.
right. Do you mind sharing some of let's say best practices? Your what would you recommend for someone who either wants to start, or what do we do if I already have a destination wedding? What are the things to look out for?
I think for me, I think we owe it to the clients to absolutely make sure that you understand the whole process, first of all, of a destination wedding. And, you may already do groups now, and that's great. So you have a lot of the basic knowledge. But the challenge that we have with destination weddings is that it's a much higher emotional sale. It's, the biggest day of their life. And I think you owe it not only to the client, to the bride and groom, but to their guests, to make sure that you have the full understanding and knowledge of how does a destination wedding work. um it's different to a US wedding, and whether you actually are involved in every single step of that process or not is up to you. We personally, we are involved in every part of the process only because we get much more greater control, and you want to always be in control of that. You don't want to have the bride telling you, or the groom, what they've chosen or what they've done or what they've purchased. you want to be in control of that all the time. That's how our model is. And I know other agents who do sell destination weddings and they don't get involved in that at all. They just hand them off to the on-site. But at the volume that we do, the number of weddings that we do, our model works very well to be in very close contact with the on-site wedding planners. And I my advice would be that you should definitely have a full understanding of start to finish of how it works, how the process works, and where it sometimes is most likely to break down, so that you at least know that part. Whether you decide to do that with your groups or not is your personal choice, because it does take a lot of time. And a lot of the resorts don't pay commissions on extras and wedding packages and things like that. The ones that we work with, they do. And we have very close relationships. Again, we don't work with every single brand out there. We probably work with maybe 5 or 6 main brands. And I think the other piece of this is that you need to know that not every couple is going to be your couple. Not every wedding is going to be a good fit for you. And we say no to more couples than ever before, because either A, they're not, they're not fully committed, or we feel like they're not fully committed. And secondly, maybe their budget's just not worth what we know our time is worth. So maybe their budget is just not worth that to us. So we don't take every single couple that comes to us. We try and qualify them and see if we're a good fit for them, and also if they're a good fit for us. In terms of other best practices, I think it's really important that I give you this advice, because it took me a few years to learn it. And that is basically to, set your stall out from the beginning, inform your couples what your process looks like. Okay, so if they're going to work with you as an agency and as a romance specialist, you got to be upfront with them and tell them, if you're not getting married for another 10 months from now, most of the planning for the wedding is actually done from 3 months to 6 weeks prior. So I think it's important that you're upfront with them with your process, how things work, and that you manage the couples and not them manage you. It took me a good 3-4 years to learn that in the beginning. I was run ragged. I was doing 16 to 18-hour days. I was coming home crying from the office most days, being shouted at, screamed at by everybody except for the couple. So I definitely think that's some good advice to take in the beginning.
Wonderful. Rolanda, do you have any best practices or something that you learned not to do or recommend for everyone else to make sure that they're doing?
Okay, well, first, I echo everything that Sharon just said. It is absolutely important that you maintain control over the entire process and that you communicate that to your couple. I don't do bridezillas. I don't do groomzillas, momzillas, or dadzillas. So when I hear of other agents who do destination weddings and they're talking about the problems that they're having with people, I personally don't care who's paying for the wedding. Um, you hired me because of my expertise, and if you could do it, you don't need me. So I actually withdrew from a wedding. I resigned from the wedding because the bride. I don't do drama. It's not necessary. The work is, it's enough work as it is without the added extra. So I don't deal with that at all. I won't tolerate it. Um, I do think it's really important to have a contract. My contract has 3 packages, or my company, I offer 3 packages. One of them is if a wedding planner comes to me and wants me to handle the travel only, he or she is going to do the wedding portion, then my contract with the couple is that I'm only going to handle the travel. If they want me to do all the legwork and then someone else is going to be on site handling, or they're going to give it over to the wedding people on site, then they have that option. And the third option is for me to coordinate in person. I find that 90% of my couples prefer that. And in doing that, they have to pay for my travel. Uh, Up until recently, I had people paying for my room and I paid for my flight. But my business coach told me if it's going to pull me out of the office for a minimum of 4 days, then that is, even though to some degree I can still work, so I take my laptop with me, if it's going to pull me out of the office for a minimum of 4 days, and that includes travel time, then they need to compensate me for the time that I'm unable to work on other projects for clients. So I changed my model recently, and this is going forward from here. They absolutely have to pay for all of my travel, including my flight and everything. Uh, I have a legal background, so I do absolutely nothing without a contract so that they know exactly what they have engaged me to do. And if they want me to do more than what they've engaged me to do, then we have to renegotiate the contract, or at least do an amendment to it. Very, very important. I'm very big on contracts. Uh, it's it's mandatory. I won't even begin to do any work. I'll sit down and have a meeting with the bride and groom, and go over what I have to offer them, but I won't do any research, make any recommendations, do anything until I have a signed contract, and then I have a fee on top of that. And this fee is separate and apart. It does not go toward my travel. It's strictly a fee for me to even touch your wedding. I won't do it until that's paid.
Okay. So a lot of people want to know regarding the bridezillas. Do you have a software? How do you how do you know
See
who's
my
a
face.
bridezilla?
You see my face. I will start off nicely and let them know that you know, you're in good hands, and, don't worry, because my destination, all jokes aside, my destination weddings are personal to me, and I approach them as if they are my own. I have very, very high standards, so I absolutely will not just half do anything when it comes to a wedding. My mantra is you don't get a do-over for destination weddings. You got to get it right the first time. And it is an emotional time for them. They're excited, they're nervous. Are people going to come? So I do recognize that it can be a little stressful on them. I try to remind them that, I'm here, I have you. Don't worry, I'm on top of everything. If it continues, then no, you're going to get the other side. Sit down somewhere and leave me alone and let me do my work.
Sharon, Rolanda mentioned that she charges fees. What
Yeah.
about you? Do you have booking fees or wedding
So
fees?
we don't, because we are dealing with large groups. Most, I'll probably say our average earning on a group, Roy, is between, anything from 5 to 8,000 on an average group, which I think is pretty adequate enough. But that being said, we do not start sharing our expertise and our knowledge without a plan to go fee, which is $1,000. So basically, we put the $1,000 towards their deposit. Once they've signed our contract, we put that $1,000 towards the group deposit, and then if anything happens and they decide to go, that is non-refundable. So we would still be compensated for our consultation time and the beginning work. So $1,000 is the minimum before we'll even start talking with you, to be honest.
Okay, so these are two, we'll call it two different models. Um, that one, you guys are charging a fee. It's a plan to go fee applied towards the group, the deposit, and Rolanda charges a fee that will not be applied towards the wedding. So
Yeah.
two different
So
models.
we don't also travel with our couples either. here's my personal belief on this. If I've done my job right and my team's done their job right, there should be no reason why you're needed at a destination wedding, because everything should have already been done and set up. I do understand that a lot of couples want for personal hands-on experience on the day of the ceremony, and maybe if they're doing pre-events and post-events as well. But with the hotels that we work with, we've been working with them for 10 years, and we have such a close relationship with these on-site wedding girls. We supply them with decor. We've been down there and done training with them. We have our weddings done in a very specific way that the girls know, and they've been doing it that same way, for at least the last 5 years. So ours is like a well-oiled machine that really, I can touch wood and say we've not had any major challenges in the last 5 years. In the first 5 years, yeah, we had lots of challenges, but we learned from that. And the last place I would want to be on one of my couple's days is at their wedding, because if they know that you're there, they're going to come to you with every single thing. And I personally feel like that's not necessary. If we've done everything we were supposed to do ahead of time and our on-site team does the same, that's not needed.
I know that when I'm asked the question if I can attend or if they need me on site, I normally tell people that if something does happen, you do not want me with you. You want me in my office next to a computer, a
Being
few
able to,
phones.
yeah.
But I will send people on the large weddings that we do. We will send people if needed to manage the wedding.
So,
Um,
so we do use some local wedding planners for our larger weddings, because we also work with them, off-site weddings. So if there's a case of, I feel like I need an internal member of the team there on the day because it is large and maybe there's a lot of moving components at the same time, we'll use one of our local wedding planners on island or in resort.
okay.
Now,
Uh,
I have to. I'm going to say this, and then I have to jump off because I got to go host my own. But Sharon brought up a really great point about being in control, and I want to go back to that. Um, what I have found, and I try to overcome it, is that sometimes when you have a resort, and like she said, she works with specific resorts. They've developed a relationship. I consider myself developing a relationship. But one of the reasons why I like to remain totally hands-on is because brides are very emotional. They have this vision of what they want for their wedding. And just to kind of give a really, really quick example, and then I have to drop off. Wedding that I did in August of last year, the bride wanted a tent and she wanted that tent on poolside. And I was not aware of this until I got there. And it sounds great, tent poolside, but this $2,000 tent can't be affixed to a hard surface. So it needs the beach. And she chose the pool surface because she had people who had mobility issues and could not easily uh, navigate on the sand. Well, because the tent had to be moved, those people were unable to come to the reception because they really could not walk on the sand. And so those were plates that she paid for that went uneaten because she wanted to have a tent on by the poolside. I would have known you got to affix a tent to a structure or to some type of permanent stake in the ground or something like that. And that wasn't something that I found out about until I got there, and then it's like this is already a done deal. So you can't have that. That's why it's really, really important to maintain control or at least stay in the loop through email when something is happening with the planning of the wedding process. I have to jump off because I am going to be hosting, and I'm already 4 minutes late for one that I'm hosting. Um, but Roy knows how to get in touch with me if anybody has any other questions for me specifically.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Rolanda, for a last minute jump and go attend your your webinar. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye, everybody.
Bye. Um, okay. So just kind of adding to what Rolanda was saying, I remember I had an issue with one of my brides when we had a wedding, and there was a big storms that actually swept the beach. Like the beach kind of disappeared, and I think that was the Hilton Rose Hall in Jamaica, and the location that they picked was the beach, but there was no beach. The bride was stressed. Everyone was so stressed. And I actually attended one of my conferences in Jamaica around the same time. So I jumped over to the hotel, took some videos, took some pictures, did kind of a live stream, and then we changed the location of the wedding um, while I was there. So, but again, I might go before, but normally I will not be at the actual wedding. So Sharon, I wanted to ask. I asked you before when we were prepping. I honestly thought you were going to say something different. That your answer is going to be different. So my question was: are weddings corona proof? What are you seeing in terms of changes, cancellations, as to what's going on right now?
I don't think any travel's corona proof right now, not just weddings. Obviously, the whole world is in shutdown, lockdown. So, no, in answer to the questions, no, it's not corona proof. However, I've been through, quite a few diseases now, Zika, this one, ash cloud, 9/11. I think for us here right now for weddings, because imminently within the next 3 months, so we do at least a couple of thousand weddings a year. So imminently we have either cancelled or moved 89 weddings in the last 3 weeks. It saddens me, of course, that we did all of this work last year. We sold these brides last year, and they're supposed to be getting married within the next 10, 12 weeks, and now that's not going to happen. But most of them, I will say at least 75% of them have moved the date. So the dates have either been moved to the last quarter of 2020 or into 2021. A lot of them have moved their dates into 2021. So we haven't completely lost these, but the income that we were expecting obviously is not going to happen now. However, that being said, I've personally found in my business that weddings is very lucrative. And I think if you're good at what you do and you're the best at what you do, you can definitely get a great living from selling romance travel. And that is all we sell. Like, we don't do any other kind of I don't sell cruises or family travel or anything like that. We are looking for new couples every single day. We don't get a lot of repeat clients in weddings. So you got to be good at what you do, and your reputation has to be top notch in order to survive in this niche, for sure.
Okay. For me, based on what I've seen in my business, as you said, people are changing. They're not necessarily canceling if they can. Wedding is a special day. So I've for the weddings that I've been doing, they just pushed a little bit or they changed some things, especially the ones that are further out, not the ones that we already
Yeah.
booked flights and everything is set. So we're talking about advantages of doing groups in general, but are there any like disadvantages to working with groups or wedding groups in general?
I wouldn't say there's disadvantages. I think it's all plus plus. However, obviously, in the situation that we find ourselves in today, the same way that when you sell a bride and groom and they're telling you that they have, we're expecting 50 guests. Great. I'm still only dealing with the bride and groom at that point till I get the signed contract. And then The rest of it is, I mean, dealing with the guests, they don't really have much option. They're either coming or they're not. They don't, we then try and upsell them on the room category and everything else. But that part of things is more just servicing those guests and taking their order. But it's still servicing them at a high level to make sure that the whole group, is maintained and that the bride and groom are happy. The flip side to that is obviously in a situation which doesn't happen very often either, but sometimes, the couple will end up pregnant before the wedding by accident. And, maybe they decide that they're going to cancel the wedding, or things like this right now, Corona, COVID-19, where whatever the couple decides determines everybody else in that in that group. So if the couple decides we're not going to go through with this at this time, we're going to push it back, then instead of you losing that one reservation, you could be losing 20 reservations. So I guess that's probably the only downside that I see. I don't see any other downsides to dealing with groups at all. It's just a larger number of people, but technically speaking, we're still only dealing with the group leader, the bride and groom. And then you get all of their following coming in naturally because they're coming to attend the wedding.
Okay. I found, I mean, from time to time when dealing with large groups, I found that sometimes you are working with people that are guests. They might not have worked with a travel professional before. They don't understand why they need to book with you. They saw that it's $5 cheaper somewhere else, and they don't understand that sometimes the prices might include maybe transfers, maybe an activity. They don't understand the benefits on the back end to the bride and groom. How are you overcoming like the objections as to, or making sure that everyone actually books within your group?
So that's one of the things that we definitely learned after our first few years. It goes back to the very beginning of before you even agree to start working with a couple for their destination wedding, is that you lay out the law of the land and how your agency works and how this process works. And not only do you discuss that with them, but you put it in writing with them, with the couple, so that they fully understand. Because everything that filters down to the guests comes from the couple, first of all. So it's important that you communicate to them your process, how you work as an agency, and how the whole destination wedding process works. And we tell our couples up front, you're going to get your Auntie Mary calling you and telling you that she can get your hotel for $10 a night cheaper. But it doesn't matter where else they see this. If they don't book within the group block, then the bride and groom don't benefit overall from the group perks and the benefits that they might have. They don't get the services of our agency and our on-site team and our in-destination team. And when you explain to them what the benefits are of working with an expert who does destination weddings every single day, and you explain that to them rather than Auntie Mary, who's maybe been overseas 3 times in her entire life, they understand. They understand and they get the value and what we offer. And so that filters down into the guests. We also provide them with the guest wording. So they can either submit their guest list to us with all the contact information, and we contact out to the guests with the whole process, the hotel information, the booking information. We will contact the guest with all of that, with our process in there as well, and our terms and conditions. Or if the couple has a wedding website, which most of them will have, we send them the wording exactly to copy and paste into their wedding website. Now, that's not to say that that handles every single objection. You're still going to get some people with questions. Oh, I've got air mile points. How do I use them to make my stay? But honestly, in the end, we rarely have these questions as objections anymore, because we preempt it in the beginning. We preload it to the couple. It's sent out to the guests, so they're fully understanding of what value we bring to the table before they even begin to work with us.
Okay. And going back a little bit to, we'll call it best practices. Do you use a specific maybe software program to help you either like manage it, get the
So
forms?
we
How do
do.
you
We
manage?
have our own in-house that I had built and developed over time, because this is literally what we do. But prior to that, I did work with Travel Joy, and then more recently Test, which are both CRM systems, and also Vacation CRM. So those are three really good systems that I would say Test and Vacation CRM are really good at handling groups within one CRM. So you can build your group in there, you can process your payments in there and things like that, and always know where you are. We do things a little bit differently at my agency, because we do a lot of our contracts directly with the hotels. So we work on net contracts for most of them, not all. Sometimes we use a tour operator, Vacation Express. We do a lot of groups with Classic Vacations and FunJet. But for the ones that we do with our own direct contracts, we use our own software and we manage it that way. But even if you don't have a software, even just Google Docs or using a spreadsheet, that if you have more than one agent in your agency, one that is shareable with everyone means that no matter who's calling in for the group, you can see exactly what's available in your group contract and how many rooms are available, what the rates are, and who's paid what at any given time.
So that document you are sharing with your team or with the bride and groom?
So that document is our system is an internal system for that. However, the last day of every month, we send an update out to the group leader, the bride and groom, showing them every month where we're at in terms of how many rooms are booked, who's booked, what nights, what room categories, so on and so forth. And that's part of our process, that we tell our couples that the last day of every month, you're going to receive an update. However, if you need any information in between, you can always contact us.
Okay. We're not highly focused on weddings and my agency in general, but we do destination weddings, and mostly the big ones. I find that if we use certain programs like Cognito Forms, there are some
Short
options out
form,
there where
yeah.
people can fill in their information, and then of course we have a CRM. We're also using Vacation CRM. So you'll be able to maintain it, and then we share a Google Doc, an Excel spreadsheet with the bride and groom, so they're always aware of how many rooms are left in the block and who registered. um, do you have any before we go on to the next scheduled question? Do you have any special story, something that happened? I mean, I can give an example right now. We had an issue that I got an email from the bride and groom. She saw that we invited someone, and we got a call that her boyfriend can come. We're not sure about the whole story, what happened there. And then we got an angry email saying, my boyfriend is not allowed in the wedding. Can you please refund our deposit? What's weddings will have dramas, right? What's like? Do
They
you have
do.
an
We're
amazing
dealing,
story for us?
yeah, absolutely. As we said at the beginning, weddings are high emotions. It's a very emotional sale. People who are getting married look to do this only once in their lifetime for the majority. So they want everything to go smooth. They want it to be sweet. They want everybody to get on. And in a perfect world, that would be great, but that's not how it happens. So yeah, we do. We get people who are invited and then they get themselves uninvited. Sometimes that's the parents, believe it or not, because they start to get so involved. Honestly, what my experience of this is when emotions are high and stress is running high and people are like, losing their mind. We just try to have a conversation with them and bring it back to ultimately, why are you getting married? You're two people in love. You want to be joined in marriage. And that's the most important thing here, not what anybody else wants, not what anybody else says. and we bring them back to, this is about you and your partner, and the drama is always going to be there within your family. So make this day the way that you want it to be. And just remember that you two are falling in love with each other. And that's what this is all about. It's not about anybody else. It's about you two. And we try and defuse every situation with that. And because they get so caught up in it all with their friends and family, and this person doesn't like that, and I'm scared that this person's going to cause a fight at my wedding. I mean, we have a lot of split families now, right? Their parents separated, they've remarried, and maybe they don't talk at home, and now we're expecting them to go to paradise where there's all inclusive and alcohol and what everybody's just to get on. I mean, I'd love to tell you that that's what happens, but it's not. So we can only do what we can do, and we can't control what we can't control. So, we just try and bring them back to that. Here's the reason why you're getting married. And again, going back to the very beginning, the qualifiers, what are the most important factors to this couple? If they tell you that the most important factor is for their mother and father and their friends and family to be there, then our next question is, and do you believe there could be any challenges along the way, or any fallouts, or how will that proceed if people decide that they don't want to come to your destination wedding? Will that be a deciding factor on whether you go ahead with this or not? You got to preempted all of that out right in the beginning. And that's where people are asking about bridezillas. You can have the sweetest couple for the first 6 months, and then something in their family twists and changes, and they become bridezillas. So you can only do so much, but if you follow those qualifiers right in the beginning, you can usually detect whether there's going to be drama and challenges and objections right from the off. Not always, because things sometimes do fall apart along the way, but if you do good qualifiers and a good consultation at the beginning, it usually is a great indicator of whether this is going to be, a nightmare wedding for you or an okay wedding.
Okay. So we have some people that are, say, new to the business, or they're looking into getting into the business and learn more about romance travel and weddings. Do you have any specific trade events or learning programs that you're aware of that you could recommend?
Yeah. So I am very involved in the romance travel niche. For sure, you definitely, just because you sell travel now, you definitely don't want to just jump in and say, oh, I'm now a destination wedding specialist. I think you owe it to yourself and to your clients, if you are going to come into this niche, is that you'd have to be educated on the entire process of a destination wedding. And why is that important? It's important because you only get one shot. You don't get a second chance at doing somebody's wedding. And if you screw it up, you won't be doing many more weddings after that. So definitely trade events that you can attend would be the Romance Travel Forum is one event that's both educational. So they have educational sessions. It's once a year, it's an annual event, and it happens usually in the Caribbean or Mexico, somewhere like that. It's called Romance Travel Forum. The other one is an association called Destination Weddings and Honeymoon Specialists Association. It's a big long one, I know, but it's DWHSA for short. So it's dwhsa.com is the website. And for agents to come in and do just basic boot camp training, Lisa Sheldon, she does that training. And you can find her on dwagents.com, DW standing for Destination Wedding. So it's dwagents.com. And DWHSA also has a annual event that's a conference for education, networking, and pre and post FAMs, all about romance focused. And that one is the Romance Travel University.com. The Romance Travel University.com. And then there's also another event usually held in Mexico in December called Love Mexico. Love Mexico is another great educational romance themed event for agents to attend. So there's lots of supplier training as well that focuses on destination weddings. Um, Playa Resorts has a whole romance page and site that you can learn about their weddings. Sandoz has one. Um, Hard Rock AIC has one. Palace Resorts has one. Almost every brand, Sandoz Hotels, almost every brand has a romance travel niche training that you should learn or get onto online. Just contact your BDM or go to their agents page, and you'll be able to find a lot of the romance focus on there.
Oh, you pretty much covered everything on my list. I think there was one thing that was on my list. I know there's Charisma are doing some weddings, focused FAMs, destination weddings.
So, and
Uh,
yeah, and so does AM Resorts as well. A lot of these brands will do at least once a year a romance fam where they just focus on, and the benefit of that is it allows you to go into the fam and to the resorts where they show you the setups, because most resorts offer a wedding package. They have set wedding packages as well as customization. So it actually lets you go in and see those themed setups, all the visuals, the decor, and the whole process of how that destination wedding is going to look at that resort. It also gives you a chance to meet the on-site wedding teams. And I think that's important that you are able to know who you're going to be working with for the next 6 to 9 months ahead of time for your couples, and start to build a relationship with those on-sites at the resorts as well.
Right. One of the pictures that I posted was pretty much for like a mock wedding that was done. You get to see and experience kind of a wedding. I can post a few pictures. I think this one was from the first or second romance travel forum in the Dominican Republic. We got to see a few weddings. You go into the conference centers. You really breathe weddings, just everything. You see all the locations. There's a lot to learn about weddings, how many weddings are done a day at that specific resort, how,
Yeah.
if they have a wedding department, how big is it. All of that information is can be quite very important for the bride and groom, and you need to educate yourself. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of, as Sharon said, normally people get married once or they do one destination wedding. If you screw that up, then that's the bad thing. But I can tell you that most of my weddings that I'm doing are coming from referrals. People that were bridesmaids attended a wedding, and that's the majority of the weddings that I am doing right now. And the weddings that I'm doing are really, really big weddings. We do normally 100 rooms and up, buyouts, the entire hotel. So we normally do really big, high-end weddings, and that's it. We don't deal with the smaller ones. But again, that's our business. I'm trying to see if we have any questions here. Oh, there's red
Just
is.
just on your point there about the referrals. So again, in the beginning, we built our business from scratch 10 years ago. Didn't even have a database, nothing. But now, 10 years on, almost 70% of our weddings comes from a referral now. So we have a referral program as well with our couples, but this is a fact. This is a known fact that for every couple getting married, they know 3 other couples getting married within 2 years of their wedding, because usually they're in that same demographic, that same age group. And so if they're between, anything from 22 to 40, that demographic, their friends and everything else are either looking to get married as well. So that's where the referrals come from, as well as any guest who's attending one of your destination weddings, you can incentivize them. If they had a great time at the destination wedding that you arranged, you can incentivize them to bring you referrals as well from anybody who anyone they know who's looking to either do a vow renewal or a honeymoon or a destination wedding.
And of course, when you start with the bride and groom and you did a good job, of course, all their guests, but they'll do an anniversary, they'll have kids, they'll go, they started at sandals, they
Yeah,
go to
you can
beaches,
migrate
they
them.
do their family, they might go to cruise, who knows? But you're starting and you're part of a very, very important date memory in their lives. So they will. I've had weddings. We're doing Disney now because the kids are 3, 4. So we're doing Disney now. It's just the grandparents are joining. It's just almost an endless referral stream of referrals that can come from a successful wedding. So just make
Absolutely. You
sure
can
again.
naturally migrate them through the rest of your business. Like you said, the anniversary. So part of our automated CRM system is that we will go out to them 8 months prior to their first wedding anniversary with a either return to the same place deal, or hey, are you looking to do your first anniversary overseas? We've got this special offer for you. Start planning now for your first wedding anniversary.
So Don Gonzalez is asking, what incentive are you offering? Are you talking about incentives to the bride and groom? Why to book with you? That's
No, that the referral program that we do is after they've got married and they've come home, what we do is we automatically send the couple a $100 gift card with our referral note inside and our business card that says, hey, we hope you enjoyed working with us, and we would love to help your friends and family who are looking to book romance travel and everything else. We're sending you this gift card as a thank you in advance for the referrals that you send to us. And then if any of those referrals book with us, confirm with us, we will also offer them the same. We've had one girl refer 8 weddings to us. 8. It's cost me $800 in gift cards, and we also sent them on a 3-night complimentary stay to Jamaica as well. So my ROI on that, the 8 weddings that she has sent to us, is actually almost been worth $700,000 in gross revenues. So,
I had
$800 in gift cards and a 3-night complimentary stay that I was able to give to her is a fantastic return. I wish I had many more of her.
one of the biggest weddings that I've done, or pretty much biggest trip that I've ever handled, was a referral from a wedding. Someone was a bridesmaid at a wedding. She worked she worked in the NBA. She still does, but she works as an admin. One of the executives needed to get married. We made, that was a buyout at one of the really high end properties in Jamaica. Everyone coming with private jets. So you can imagine
Yeah.
the profitability that can happen. And the wedding that happened was actually, it started at like a Rio property and then ended up going into a really, really high end from that, like for our referral from that wedding. So make sure that you do. Again, we know that we want to take care of our clients. People are a little bit they it's a wedding. It's a really important
Yeah.
date
And,
for them.
and
It's
I
not
think
just
that's
one trip.
important. It's important that when they're doing their research, they want to know that you are an expert in that niche. And if you decide that you want to do romance and in particular destination weddings, you can't just dibble dabble at this. You either got to go all in and be the best that you can be, or don't do it at all, because it's not something that you can just, oh, I'm going to dip in and out about. You're either doing it or you're not doing it, because if you come in and you attempt to do it half-assed, it's going to ruin your entire reputation as a travel expert, not just a romance expert. And I think it's important that any consumer that's half savvy not only in the consultation, are they at the beginning consultation, not only are you seeing if they're a good fit for your agency, but they're also qualifying you. They want to know that you are legit and that you can do what you say you can do. And if you're just blagging this and you're not fully following through, you're going to get caught out and you're going to pay the price. Believe me. I've
Right.
seen this happen so many times from agents. I've got a destination wedding. I've never done one before. Can somebody help me? Most of the time, I will say to them, do yourself a favor, pass that lead to somebody else who specializes in weddings and cut a deal for them on and do a commission split. Because if you're not an expert in weddings and you half-ass attempt this without any expertise or knowledge, you're probably not going to like it and you're probably going to get caught out. So really, really think about it, first of all, before jumping in.
Yeah, maybe try and again connect with a more experienced agent that have done it. Maybe partner with them, either commission split or someone who, if the group is big enough, maybe they'll mentor you for that group, and you'll get some sort of a cut. But and educate yourself, training, FAMs, on site. Make sure if you do have weddings, get testimonials, get pictures from the wedding, post them on
Yeah,
your website, on your Facebook page. Maybe even open up a certain specific division. Some people who deal with weddings, they don't want to see that person also does maybe Disney or family. They want to know that you are focused, that you are dedicated to romance travel. Again, it's not every bride, it's not every trip, but think about it. I think it will increase your chances. If you want to deal with weddings, make sure that you, at least outside, it's shown that you are really highly focused and an expert on destination weddings. Let me see if we have any more. I don't see that we have any more questions. Um,
I
and
see somebody posting about Romance Travel University. So it was supposed to be in April this year, but it has been moved. So yeah,
yeah,
obviously we're all in
spend
the
the
same
time right now.
situation.
Yeah, the time
But
that we
but
have
you
right
can
now
still
to.
go to the same company, dwagents.com, and you can do their training. They have a full library of romance training that's available when you become a member there. And if anybody does decide to join dwagents.com, it is a membership, it's an association that comes with so many other benefits. But if anybody's looking to join that, they can either send me an email, or when they apply to dwagents.com, they just mention my name and say this webinar. I think they'll get a lower membership fee.
Do you have like a referral link or something that I can post later?
I
Or?
can get one. I'll get
Okay.
one from the association. Yeah.
Perfect. If you have one, we'll post it on the group, and make sure, again, spend the time that you have right now, because things are a little quiet.
Absolutely.
Uh,
This is a perfect time to be looking at broadening your horizons and maybe looking into a different niche.
The only bookings that I do right now are group travel for June 2021, and they're mostly wedding groups. So they're all like in a year and something from now. Again, it's possible that it will change, but they're keeping me busy right now. Again, it's not an income that will come right now, but in a year or a year and a half,
Yeah, well,
it's a
we've
long
already got
process.
2022 weddings on the book, so I think we probably have, it's less than 100 for 2022 right now, but 2021 we have over 1,500 weddings on the books.
Oh wow. Well, to summarize, or I mean, how are you dealing right now with the situation? Did you? I'm assuming you
So
guys had a lot of
unfortunately, right
cancellations.
now, so funny because yesterday I'm trying to do anything I could other than process refunds yesterday because it just, it kills me. But I try and space them out and just do so many in a day. But really, we're not doing a lot of new inquiries right now. It's mostly just moving our existing groups and weddings, moving them further out, and trying to, just keep in touch with our couples that are still on our books And just really, we're just focusing on tidying everything up and maybe looking at our processes. Right now, we're actually working on a marketing campaign to get video referrals. So we're going out to previous couples to make a video testimonial for us so that we can use it in our future marketing. So that's kind of what we're focusing on right now.
Okay. So with this, we're going to end our session. Thank you very much, Sharon, for coming aboard. It's been my honor to welcome you as a true wedding expert. Thank you, Rolanda, for joining us for the first 30 minutes. She literally jumped in like a 2-minute warning because we had a last minute cancellation. This video will be on the Facebook page for people to see later. Sharon is going to send us a link for a referral link for the association if anyone wants to join and hopefully get a better rate. We'll see you guys. I think on Monday we have another session. I'll post everything. Thank you again. Have a great rest of your weekend. Thank you,
Yep.
everyone.
Stay safe, everyone. Thanks, Roy. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.